So let's kick things off here. San Francisco 49ers at the Atlanta Falcons. As we sit right now, 5.5 in favor of the 49ers on the road at the Falcons. We know the 49ers did stay out east, as they always do. At the Greenbrier is where the 49ers were. They were at the Greenbrier over there for the week. 44.5 is your total in this one. Trending towards Nick Bosa not playing for the 49ers this week, and so that's not great news. That being said, this Falcons team, I think in all of our power ratings, find themselves in the bottom 5, bottom 6, something like that. And 49ers probably find themselves inside the top 5 or 6. So a massive difference there. When it all comes down to it, Steven, what are we looking at here from your end? It is your 49ers squad.
It is, and I'm betting against them this week, believe it or not. I have a bet on the Falcons at plus 5.5, and it really is because the 49ers injury report is starting to pile up again. Mm-hmm. And we've seen this throughout the entire Kyle Shanahan era. He has been top 10 of most injured rosters all 5 years of the regime. Can't wait to talk to Will Carroll about this on Friday on the Lines Injury Podcast to see if he has any insight as to why this keeps happening for San Francisco. But this week in particular, you mentioned Nick Bosa. It's the entire defensive line, the entire starting defensive line. Arik Armstead, Javon Kinlaw, all did not practice back-to-back days, Wednesday and Thursday. Ebukam did come back from a DNP on Wednesday to be limited, but it's an Achilles, and they're going to be careful when it comes to an Achilles. And even if he's out there, who knows if he's 100%. So the entire front unit that has been dominant at getting pressure without blitzing is compromised for this game. On top of that, safety Jimmy Ward is out. Emmanuel Mosley is out for the year. And when he was not available last year for the 49ers, their pass defense was very susceptible. It became a weak link in the defense that passing offenses and good receivers were able to take advantage of. Their backup corner, Diamador Lenore, 93rd out of 104 in coverage grade among corners, 101 passer rating allowed when targeted. And their backup DB, Tarvarius Moore, is also limited with a hamstring. So more than half of the starting defense, some of their depth is compromised in this game. And the Falcons' offensive line, despite the quarterback play being below average, is number 3 in pass block win rate, believe it or not. And Kyle Pitts is back to full practice as well. I think going on the road across the country for a second straight week, I know they stayed at the Greenbrier, lived themselves up, had a nice little practice in the Eastern time zone, but I thought 5.5 here on the road was too much considering all of the injury concerns on defense.
Adam, look, we saw what we thought was going to be a completely decimated Bills defense, but they are so well coached and so well schemed that the injuries, I'm not going to say didn't matter, but certainly did not affect near as much as I think a lot of us thought it would with this Bills squad. Do you think that could be the case for the 49ers? They're just so well coached and they can be schemed up so well that against a Falcons team that, again, is they're fine, but they're certainly nothing that we're thinking is going to be world beaters this year or anything. Do you think it could be enough to get it done here?
I see the point that you're coming up with, Matt, and I understand because the injuries are similar in Buffalo to where they are in San Francisco, right? Where you have injuries at every level of the defense. What I think Steven's pointing to with that pass rush not being able to get home with 4 would really worry me, though, because Buffalo was still able to do that with Von Miller playing at old Von Miller levels here. So my play in this game actually has nothing to do with side. I love the total that I got. I looked at it early in the week. It was at 42. I'm seeing mostly 44.5 now. I played over 42 early in the week. The respect for the San Francisco defense is understandable. That being said, last week I told you guys I liked over in San Francisco, Carolina, and it didn't take much from Carolina's side to get there. So if you're worried about the Atlanta offense, I'm going to point to the other side of what they're doing. As Steven mentioned, the pass block win rate. And I think there's a tendency to look at that rushing offense and say, well, they don't have Cordero Patterson. And Cordero Patterson was great before getting hurt, 6 yards per carry. But if you look at Caleb Huntley and Tyler Algier, they're averaging roughly 5 yards a carry per piece. If you look at yards after contact, their numbers are identical to Cordero Patterson. It goes to say that something in this offense, even though it's not necessarily the offensive line, something in the scheme is working for them. I took them last week, plus 10.5. It was not the friendliest cover that I've ever had. That definitely was a game that made me think about getting out at multiple points, but ultimately, I think this Atlanta offense is going to be able to do its part. And I think we're seeing that the San Francisco offense is beginning to click a little bit with George Kittle having been back for a couple of weeks, with Jeff Wilson playing the role of every running back succeeds in the Kyle Shanahan system. Mm-hmm. So over 42 is where I landed. It's over 44.5 at this point. I don't love the value as much, but I think it's the way you would go if you're planning on playing this.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that if anything, it'd be a total look for me in this one as well. You do have two pretty, well, let's put it this way. Falcons have been an efficient offense. The 49ers you think are going to get better. I mean, it's the full-on now Jimmy G has basically had his air quote preseason, so he's had the games to kind of get worked into the offense. And as you mentioned, Kittle coming off the groin injury should work into the offense a little bit better. And then if we believe that these, at least somewhat, we believe that these injuries are going to affect this defense, then that should allow Atlanta to put points on the board as well. And we know Atlanta's defense, 27th DVOA, 20th according to Pro Football Focus, and their pressure rate, Jimmy G, we know, not the greatest under pressure. They're dead last in the NFL in pressure rate, so he shouldn't have to worry about that much either. So, yes, I think that the total is the look as well. I do like that angle in this one, but outside of that, going to be all I get in on that one.